What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter, also casino host, proprietor of this podcast, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why into their profession and also get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. Her name is Keely Arthur. She is a investigative reporter, consumer investigative reporter, based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, at WRAL 5 on your side. But she also was a general assignment reporter in Wisconsin as well. Also went to college out in Wisconsin. So we're going to talk to her about her why into journalism, her love for reporting, some favorite stories, and just get to know her a little bit. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, beautiful Keely Arthur. Good morning, Keely. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. First off, just want to say you look absolutely lovely today. Just want to say that.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. Very, very welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you for coming on to my podcast. And I want to ask you, how's your week been going so far?
Good. Very busy like it always is, but that's normal. And it's only Tuesday, and it feels like a full week already, but it's good.
Absolutely. Let me reiterate to you why I wanted to bring you on here before I start asking you a whole bunch of questions. So I know you're a reporter based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I also know you did some reporting in Wisconsin. I'm a reporter as well, based out of Minnesota here. I do sports. I know you're an investigative reporter, so you do all kinds of news stories and stuff like that. So we're two reporters, and I love talking to likewise people. I love getting to know their stories because we're so used to talking to people and generating stories that we don't get a chance to tell our stories. And our stories are unique as well because everybody's story is different of how they came into the industry. So I really wanted to reach out to you and talk to you and get to know you a little bit. Doing some background research, you are definitely the first person that I've had a conversation with that one has emceed a 5K and then two was Dancing with the Stars. I have not had a person on here that has done that. So that is a bucket list thing that's checked off my bucket list. I got to ask you, how was doing both of those events before we get started?
It's great. I think the reason why working in the news industry and being on air is interesting, first and foremost, because every day is different. And so sometimes you're holding people accountable and being really tough. And maybe in the same day, you're doing a Dancing with the Stars event or hosting a 5K. Dancing with the Stars was a lot of work, actually. I grew up dancing, but I had never done ballroom dancing before. And
Sure.
so it's a commitment to learn the routine. And it was like 8 2-hour practices, which I'm already really busy. So it was hard to fit in. But it was fun and I was glad to do it. And same with the 5K. 5K is a little less prep work leading up to the event, and it was for St. Jude. So
Yep.
that is a very worthy cause. And for anyone who's in the industry, it's good to get out there and meet people and maybe show a side of your personality that people don't get to see on newscasts.
Absolutely. No question about that. My first official question is always the same, Keely, to everybody that I bring here on my podcast. And it is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Were there any role models growing up? Is this something that you always wanted to do? Did it just fall into your lap? I've gotten both sides of the coin on that question, but I want to hear your story of how you came into the journalism industry.
Yeah, that's a great question. I definitely think I always wanted to do this. I grew up in Chicago, and I think depending on where you grow up, either you're in a community that really embraces and watches local news, or you're not. Chicago is certainly one of those markets where people love their local news and are very loyal to it. So I grew up every day watching the news with my family. Good Morning America was on in the mornings, and then ABC 7, the local station in Chicago, was on in the evenings.
Sure.
And I think I didn't fall into it. I think I always wanted to do it, but I went to University of Wisconsin, thinking I was going to be a teacher. And I have a degree in history and journalism because I had taken enough history classes to get that extra major. And I thought that I was going to be teaching high school history. But I had a high school teacher who was a great mentor to me, and she said, you can always go back and teach. You can always go back and get your teaching license. But she taught French. She said, I'll spend 30 years teaching the same subject to the same age group over and over again. So she said, go climb the ladder in journalism, see what you can do there. And that is why I ended up doing what I'm doing, and I'm really grateful for it. Maybe one day I will go back and teach, but I think when the Wisconsin Journalism School is fairly competitive, and in my submission for it, I wrote that journalists really are teachers in a lot of ways too. You're educating people on current events
Absolutely.
constantly, and you're trying to take maybe a complex topic or a topic that not a lot of people have knowledge of and make it so it's easy to understand. So that's why I ended up doing what I'm doing. And my why every day is there are a lot of people who don't have a lot of power. And I think, I don't know if it's happening more and more, but I feel like are taken advantage of. And
Sure.
being able to shine a light on those inequities and hold really powerful people accountable, and maybe they're not used to um, answering questions, or answering questions that someone who may not have a lot of power or ability to ask, being able to ask those on behalf of those people to those
Hmm.
powerful people is really
Hmm.
important. And I think until we live in a world where everybody is happy and healthy and safe, you have to keep poking at the status quo to create good change. So that really fires me up, and that's why I do what I do.
Absolutely. Giving a voice to the voiceless, right? That's what it pretty much is.
Exactly.
And which is also one of my whys. I
Great.
love be able to talk to people. I love to be able to hear people's stories. I love to be able to write stories. I think everybody has a unique story to them, and I think we should give more opportunities out there for people to advocate about their stories, because you just never know. You never know what you can find out there. Every day is also new and exciting. You never know when you walk in. I do sports, but there's a different sports game every single day. And there's great sports stories within that as well. You mentioned it, and I want to get to that, and that's you went to the University of Wisconsin Madison. Talk to me about any other schools that could have possibly persuaded you from going to the University of Wisconsin Madison.
I don't know if any other schools could have persuaded me. I'm from the Chicago suburbs, and the Big Ten is a very, going to the Big Ten schools is kind of very commonplace. And
Absolutely.
when I graduated high school, and within 3 months you go from high school to sorry, there's something on my screen. I'm moving it. Okay. You go to college, and I at the time had committed to going to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana.
Yep.
So kind of the Big Ten school in Illinois. And in August, I kind of woke up and I said to my mom, I don't really want to go to Illinois. It was going to be the same people I'd gone to high school with, and I just wanted a fresh start. And school was starting in a few weeks. She called Wisconsin, which I had gotten into,
Hmm.
and said, can she still come here? And they said, yeah, we have space. She can come. So I got assigned a random roommate who had been on the waiting list, and she later got in. So we just happened to be roommates, and I was her maid of honor. We're very close friends to this day. So it kind of worked out perfectly. And Madison is one of the only cities in the country with the TV market where the interns can be on television. Now, Mizzou has their own broadcasting
Yep.
program.
Affiliate. Yep.
Wisconsin is very focused on like journalism ethics and kind of the less of the practical and more of theory in journalism. But the CBS station in Madison has a really competitive internship program where if you work hard enough, you can get your voice on air. And if you work even harder, you can get on air doing stand-ups. And we all know in the journalism industry for broadcast, you need examples of your work in order to get that first job.
Without question.
So I don't think I could have gone anywhere else and had gotten that same experience had I, gone to a different school. It really was key. And I'll tell you a quick story. I had applied to get into the CBS internship and I didn't get it. And so then I went to the ABC station and said there was a sports internship job, and it was just to shoot football, high school football. And I don't know anything about sports, but I basically lied and said, yeah, I love sports, whatever. It's my favorite. And I was terrible. And they basically were like, by the end of it, we don't need you to come back. But in the time where I had been there, I had a camera and I had a setting. So I was able to create a tape to apply to the internship and then get into the news business. And that was really key.
I love that. I love that quick story. And by the way, before I get to this next question, I obviously doing a little background research. I know that you have one of your segments that I really liked, and that was the one where you were powering up the cars. It was the infrastructure segment where you were taking a trip into North Carolina. It seems like the camera just loves you. There's certain people that gets in front of the camera that you just know that they should be in front of a camera. That is their job. That's what they should be doing. You seem like you're passionate about it and you love doing it. And I was like, yep, this is definitely something for her, for sure. And you did that segment. You did another segment with like you said, the Dancing with the Stars. They showed the video that had to be crazy type. Chicago. I too have ties to Chicago, and because my mother and father were born and raised there. My mother West Side, my dad South Side. I still have family there, and I'm actually going there for the NABJ conference because it's in Chicago this year. Yeah, absolutely. So definitely have a lot of ties to Chicago as well. So that's good that we got that in common. I want to ask you some favorite questions, Keely. And these are just some favorite questions that I came up with. I normally ask every guest that I have on here. You just give me the 411, okay?
All right.
All right, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
I like to cook would be a pasta with like a homemade pasta sauce because that's pretty easy and it's hard to mess up. But if I'm eating or buying a meal, I get an Italian beef from Chicago. That's my favorite meal.
Can't go wrong with either one of those. Let me ask you, are you a huge deep dish pizza lover?
I am. Living in North Carolina, Lou Malnati's, you can get frozen deep dish shipped to your house. And I've done that several times. And I'll pretend it's a gift for my husband, but it's really for me to eat all the
pizza. I like that. Okay, here we go. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
I went to Summerfest in Wisconsin, which is right on the water in Milwaukee, and I saw why is his name escaping me? He passed away a few months or a year after Tom Petty. I saw Tom Petty in concert, and it was he's just great live. It's sometimes you go to these concerts and you're like, wow, this is not as good as it sounds on the radio. And he was just incredible. And that's not even maybe my favorite artist or the music I listen to all the time, but it was a really great outside concert.
Okay, I'm with that. All right. Favorite restaurant you like to go to?
Probably I think living in North Carolina, my love of Chicago food has only deepened because you just can't get it here. And probably Lou Malnati's deep dish or Portillo's, which, as you know, is like a Chicago hot dog stand fast food chain that is expanding. My sister lives in Scottsdale, and there's a Lou Malnati's and a Portillo's right in Phoenix, so she's really spoiled, but there's nothing like that in North Carolina yet. So those are my two favorites.
Absolutely not. And I'm definitely going to Portillo's later this month to the convention. I'm definitely doing it. No question about it.
Good.
I'll
You
do
have
it.
to.
Absolutely. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
My family has a lake house, little cottage in Wisconsin, and that's really my home away from home. When I was a kid, they bought it, and at the time, I kind of hated it because we had to go up there on the weekends, and I wanted to hang out with my friends back home. But
Sure.
it's probably 50 minutes from Madison, which is where I went to college.
Yep.
So when I was in college, having a lake house with a boat 50 minutes away from a dorm was very convenient and very, very, very fun. So that's my happy place. My I just got married. My husband is surprising me with a honeymoon. And we're leaving in about 10 days. I have major decision fatigue because this work, you're constantly making decisions. And my wedding, I had to make a lot of decisions. So I will have to update you. Maybe that will be my new favorite place. I don't know where we're going yet.
Yeah, I hope so. You better definitely. And congratulations on getting married. That's amazing to hear. Absolutely. That's awesome.
Thank
Um,
you.
you're very welcome. Last question. Now I'm a sports reporter, and I know you did say you're not really into sports, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Favorite sport that you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person?
I like basketball in
Okay.
person, and I guess football, if I'm watching on TV, it's a fun kind of day because the game is so long, and I like the food and the social aspects that come with watching a game on TV or at a sports bar. But I love basketball. I grew up in the 90s in Chicago, so the Bulls,
Yep.
were the team and magical back then. So growing up with that, and then when I was at Wisconsin, the basketball team was pretty great as well. They went pretty far in the NCAA tournaments. So I love basketball. I think it's fast paced and it just moves very quickly. Hockey's fun to watch, but it's hard for me to even follow the puck. Like I am so bad when it comes to sports. So basketball is my favorite because I actually understand the game.
Well, you gained a new best friend over here, Keely. That's for sure. Because basketball is my favorite sport as well. Obviously, my mom and dad growing up, like
Oh yeah.
growing up in Chicago, they're huge Bulls fans. I'm a huge basketball person. I actually grew up. I was born in Chicago, and I lived there for a little bit, but I actually grew up in San Diego. So I'm a huge Lakers fan.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So huge Kobe fan, huge Lakers fan. Growing up in that time frame, going through the high school years where Shaq and Kobe was winning stuff like that. I was
And you
gonna
have the
say
same coach. We have Phil Jackson for the
that's
Bulls
right.
in the
That's
90s,
right.
and then you guys got him in like the early 2000s. So yeah,
Yes,
that's
absolutely. And quick story before I get to the next question. So my first time in Raleigh, because I graduated Kennesaw State University. It's where I got my undergrad. I'm also pursuing my master's as we speak in my same alma mater. That's in Georgia.
awesome.
My
Okay.
mother, they're in Georgia, so I'm very familiar with North Carolina. So I went to Raleigh and I went to my first ever UNC North Carolina game. So you mentioned basketball. Basketball's big down there, especially college. NC State, Duke, UNC, huge. It was a great game. I want to go to an NC State game, and I probably will because I'm a huge traveler. I love to travel. But I need to have some things to do in Raleigh. So you got to help me out with that as because I've never really ventured out into Raleigh yet. So that's on the bucket list for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you're going to an NC State game, you should definitely go to Glenwood South. It's kind of the mecca for bars and restaurants
Now you're
in
talking. Okay,
Raleigh.
here we go.
Very good nightlife. And
Mhm.
very pretty close to the uh university. You could probably like scooter around from NC State over to Glenwood South. But I'm trying to think other things you should do. I mean, Raleigh is it's very low key. So if you want to go for like a nice walk, you can
Yeah,
do that. I mean, I think because my life is a little chaotic with work, I am a little boring when it comes to outside of work activities. So going
sure.
for walks, and there's a great outside art museum, which is really fun, and you can kind of walk around and see all those art installations. And then for a truly NC State bar. Have you ever seen the movie Bull Durham?
Yep. Oh yeah.
There's some scenes where they're in a bar. The bar that it was shot at is actually in Raleigh, not Durham, and it's called Mitch's Tavern, and it's been
Ooh,
a student staple forever, and it's pretty cheap beer, cheap food, perfect kind
okay.
of college watering hole. So I would recommend going there. And then WRL, our station, is literally across the street from the university. So you can pop over and I can give you a station tour.
That
And
would be amazing. That would absolutely be amazing. Like I said, I'm definitely going to an NC State basketball game. Football, I'm a little hit or miss on that one, but basketball definitely for sure. So whenever I am in Raleigh, I would definitely have to hit you up. There's no question about it,
all
for
right,
sure.
deal.
So this next question has to do with mental health. And the
Mhm.
reason why that I want to ask this question is because a lot of our colleagues that are in this industry are associated with words like burnout,
Mhm.
overworked, underpaid. Those words seem to be, hovering around us a lot. How do you deal with your mental health and keeping it strong, but also dealing with work-life balance, Keely? Because, like you said, you're recently married, so now you have a new husband, and now you have this work to do. We know journalism sometimes is not business hours like, right? It's not an 8 to 4, 9 to 5. They can be crazy hours at times. So how do you deal with all that, keep your mental health strong, but also have that work-life balance?
I'm really, really struggling with my work-life balance right now. I will be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on so the way my job is it's called Five on Your Side. We do consumer advocacy work.
Mm-hmm.
We are on air every day. So even when I'm going on my honeymoon, I'm still going to pre-record stories and have them air every day. So I'm
Oh,
on air
wow.
every single day, which means I have to do double the work leading up to a vacation. And
Yeah,
then on top of that, a lot of our stories can be evergreen. We'll get involved, we'll solve a problem for somebody, get someone some money back. That can air whenever. But there are other stories, like big updates in our investigative work that pop up. Right now, I'm kind of monitoring the state Supreme Court for a decision, and that could break today. And if
sure.
that happens, my whole day gets derailed because I'm already have a plan for if everything's smooth sailing, if breaking news
Right.
pops up, I got to put all of that to the side, and then it just creates more for the next day. And because we're on air every day, it's not like, oh, we were supposed to be on air today, we're going to push it off until tomorrow. No, there's still a story that's already airing, and then maybe I'll do breaking news on top of that. So I'm oftentimes in the newscasts 2, even 3 times on different stories. It's not like I'm doing different versions of the same story. So that is a lot.
Yes,
The
it
one
is.
thing I'm trying that seems to be helping is when I moved to Raleigh, I got hired maybe my interview was maybe like 3 or 4 days before the pandemic was really the pandemic.
Wow.
And so it was like March 10th, let's say. And I flew back, and by the end of my interview at WRL, early morning, everyone's shaking your hand. By the end of it, no one wants to touch you because everyone was really freaked out and didn't know a lot about COVID at the time. So I
Sure.
moved here alone in April of 2020, and we were not allowed in the building. We had to work with one photographer. I didn't know anybody here. And so I was really alone, but I was working from home mainly and then would go out and do my story live.
Hmm.
So we're just getting to the point where we're going back into the office. We did a big remodel here. And so now I'm going back into the office, and I thought, oh, work from home, that has to create more work-life balance because you can be in your pajamas and you can go in when you want to and you can eat at
Right.
your home. But I've been going into work lately, and yeah, I'm still working really long hours, but I leave my computer at work where I never did before. I would always crack it open, at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m., 5 a.m. I mean, that computer's been open many weird times because, like you
Sure.
said, it's not 9 to 5. Stories pop up when they pop up.
Right.
So keeping my computer at work has just created a little division and made my home be more of like, okay, home, even if I'm not home a lot, even if I'm still working a ton here, home
Hmm.
is where I'm not working, and then work is where I am working. And physically keeping the computer away from me so I'm not tempted to open it helps. Um, And then as far as mental health goes, yeah, it's really tough. And you feel like no matter what you do, I liken it to being like swept in a current at the beach where you come up for air and then a wave hits you again. And
Mm,
it feels like that cycle over
mm,
and over and over again. So there's this constant feeling of being overwhelmed. Am I going to get all this done? And so I just have to remind myself, like, yeah, it's going to get done. When has it not gotten done? You have to
right.
really like talk to yourself and kind of refocus and recommit to the present moment. Like, you're going to be fine. It's all going to get done at some point. But the burnout is real, and it's important to go to a place where you feel appreciated, because having someone say, you that was great, is huge. And of course,
It
we all
is.
want critique and criticism, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to a place where all you're getting is critique and criticism, you start to feel like you're not doing anything right, even if you're doing a lot of good things and they're just highlighting the bad. So going to
Absolutely.
a place that is supportive of you, and where they feel like you feel like they have your back. If I get sent to a hurricane, uh, coverage, I know I'm going to be put in a nice hotel. I know I'm going to have the resources to protect me. So WRL is really great about that. And yeah, it's hard. And I think I've struggled more than ever before with the balance. And I think the work-life balance directly affects your mental health. So it's a work in
Mm-hmm.
progress.
I appreciate that. On here with Keely Arthur, consumer investigative reporter of WRAL on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. I love that answer because I too definitely struggled a lot early on moving here to Minnesota. And the reason
Right.
being was because I moved here out by myself. I had no family. I knew no one. My mother, my aunt, my uncle's in Georgia. My dad, my stepmom's in New York. So they're far away. So I don't really have anybody immediate family near me. And when you work in sports, you're working nights to weekends. So nobody wants to hang out with you midnight on a Tuesday. I mean, it's just not
When
going to
you're
happen.
finally available. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So it was really hitting my mental health hard because I love talking to people. I love getting to know people, but you just can't get to know anybody at those times. And also, because I live in a college town, I'm a little older than a college student, but not, to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm a veteran in the game, right? I'm in my 30s. So I'm older than a college student. I'm around a master's student, a graduate student, but you got a bunch of young kids running around me. So it's like, I don't really want to hang out with the younger kids because they're doing different things. You kind of want to be able to hang out with some of the people around your age. And then I went to a station, excuse me, that everybody was about 20, 25 years older. So it's hard to hang out with them as well. So
Right.
I had to call back home, find things to do, went to work out. I like writing poetry. I went on walks. This is the first state, Keely, I ever moved to where I seen snow. I was like, this is crazy. But now, mind you, in Chicago, I was a kid, so I didn't really remember a lot.
Right.
But as an adult, seeing snow was crazy, and then negative temperatures too. Like I've never experienced negative temperatures till I moved here. But it started to affect my mental health like that until I started setting some boundaries and
Mhm.
being able to get some activities going. And then when I got the activities going and setting some boundaries, then my mental health started to get better. Then I started to meet some coaches that was around my age that I have friends now that we go and have a beer and we'll hang out and do that. And it just got better and better. And I love the fact that you said you're struggling because I think everybody does in this industry. I don't think we ever have it 100%. I don't think we'll ever get it that way. But we're working towards that for sure. But I don't think we'll ever get it to that. But this is a great segue question because I want to know if there was an intern or somebody who just graduated or somebody like myself who may be in their 30s, right? That wants to come up to you and say, Keely, I want to do what you do. What is some advice that you would give them regarding of what you do and how to approach this industry?
Um, well, from a practical standpoint, I think when you're starting out, it's really hard to figure out like how to be on camera. And everyone says act natural, but is really, nobody acts natural when the camera's in front of them.
Right.
So I would say to someone who is feeling nervous about that, to find another person that they watch that they really like, and try to almost emulate that. Don't copy it, but you probably like them because they're good. And what do you like about them? Do you like how they present themselves? Do you like how they tell stories? Do you like how they speak? That can really help you have kind of a blueprint and depersonalize you can have somebody to look at and not feel like, um oh, I don't sound good, or oh, you're just trying things. And it really helped me to also listen to audiobooks from people who are in the broadcast industry, who are
Uh,
reading their books themselves, because you
okay.
hear the way they speak, and that can really help women in the industry. You have to bring your voice down a lot. A lot of women have higher voices, and in the news they have the news voice. So just
Right. Right.
familiarizing yourself and doing that can give you a lot of confidence. You want to do things that you feel like can help you. And it's really also, it's hard to find time to practice on TV. Like you're kind of just throwing on air, and if you either sink or swim. So being able to immerse yourself with somebody that you like that's in the industry, listening to their voice, watching them, can really go a long way early on if you don't have a lot of opportunities to practice. And then I think you gotta know, like, yourself, that you're gonna be working nights and weekends early on, and maybe always, depending on if you're like sports, that's probably always
Mm-hmm.
nights and weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have a thick skin, and this has to be a labor of love. If I have a lot of, I think, skills and talents and abilities, but I don't think anything would create so much passion in my gut than this work. So if you love it, then you can then do it. But if you're kind of interested in it, you think it sounds good, it's too low paying, too stressful, and the hours are too bad for it to not be something you're completely dedicated and passionate about. If you're not, this is not just like a job for having a job's sake. It's just not. And I've seen a lot of people who are really smart and capable, but maybe aren't as obsessed or passionate about this type of work, who are in
Mm-hmm.
the industry for a little bit, and then they move on. They go into communications or something
Yep.
else, and that's okay. But if you're passionate about it, the passion will carry you a long, long way.
I'm glad you said that. I really am, because you're absolutely dead on right. People see you in front of the camera, Keely, and they're like, "Wow, this pretty lady in front of the camera, giving the news, giving the takes, giving us information, the 411 about our communities. Man, she must have it made." But they really don't know the behind the scenes of what you do to prepare yourself to get ready, right? And it's not just you; it's probably a team that gets you ready, that helps you get ready, that helps you do what you do, right? Makeup process, right? Getting on camera, writing scripts. I'm not sure if you've been to MMJ before, but I know I was in college, and
I
MMJ,
was.
well, see,
That's
there
the
you
other
go.
thing. If you're going to do this, you really need to do everything. And don't be one of those people that says, "Oh, I'm just a reporter. I'm not going to shoot." An MMJ, multimedia journalist, somebody
Yep.
who does it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really good because it gives you a respect. Now I have a dedicated photographer, which is incredible, but I know how to shoot, not as well as anyone who's a real photographer, but I get it, and I know what goes into editing a package. So it gives you a lot more respect for the work. And I have a boss who was great. He's since retired, but legend in the industry, Rick Gall, who
Mm-hmm.
said that he can tell how he can tell how, if an anchor's good, he can tell that they were a reporter for many, many years. The
Sure.
number of years you were as a reporter definitely affect your ability to do everything else. So if you're just like, I just want to be an anchor, don't do that. You really need to do all the jobs. You need to produce, you need to shoot, you need to write, you need to report on air, you need to be live, you need to do long form things and quick things, because that is really the job. You never know what's going to be asked of you.
Hmm.
And you really need to be able to do it all. And I'm sorry to go on this tangent, but I think that this industry is too small to, and it's really disservice to yourself,
Right.
because I've produced my own work, because I have anchored, because I've investigated, because I can go live. That just only strengthens your resume and gives you opportunities for the next job. So take every opportunity. And if you're already starting out and saying, well, I don't want to do that, this really probably is not maybe the right work for you, because you're at some point you're going to have to do that thing that you don't really want to do.
Oh, absolutely. And I know I encourage high schoolers, and because I covered high schoolers, and we have one college here, so I cover that as well. So typically, people that want to go into this field, I know I tell them two things. I tell them, one, do everything. Shoot, edit, write, do whatever you can. If you want to pursue that in college, just try everything. Because number one, like you said, you got to be a jack of all trades. For me, I learned the broadcast side and I learned the print side
Right.
of doing communication. Um, I've done broadcast in college. I'm doing print now. So I know how to work both. I know how to edit, shoot, write scripts, but I also know how to edit photos and write articles and write feature stories. I know how to do that because that's what I do. But not only does it give you a jack of all trades, but it also gives you a sense of what you don't want to do, what you don't want
Exactly.
to do, what you don't want to pursue, right? So then you kind of narrow and get specific about what you want to pursue and what avenue you want to go into because you tried it. You tried it and you're like, not for me. This is for me. So I encourage that. I encourage everybody to definitely try and really listen to what you just said and be able to do that in a college or not even in a college. You don't nowadays. The second thing I say, you don't have to wait till college to do this. For
Right.
me, I was doing play by play. I put on an old school basketball game and I did a play by play on that. Or I would just go out and shoot different things with my phone. Everybody now has these smartphones the way you can do stuff now where you don't have to go to college to build a real or a resume. But if you're there, definitely try it out. That's what I tell.
That's great. And I think, and at least for a lot of people in TV, the goal is to be an anchor. But if you look at people who are really high up on the totem pole when it comes to anchoring, like Savannah Guthrie, for example, she was a reporter and went back and got her law degree and then came back. She wasn't a main anchor at a bunch of local TV stations. It's good
Sure.
to really diversify your skill set and be able to, because it just rounds you out better and it makes you a much more reliable source as you're communicating to viewers. And I love anchoring, and I think it's a great way to connect with viewers in a way that you really don't get to when you're only on air for a few minutes. But I think I have much more passion for investigative work. And had you asked me 5 years ago, I probably would never even thought that I was
Hmm.
going to do investigative work. So you're
Sure.
absolutely right. Trying different things and figuring out what fits. It probably will surprise you.
Hmm. No question. No question. Now, we have came to that portion of doing this or that now. Okay. So what
Okay,
I do is I've asked you a question and you get to choose this or that. Are you with me?
I am with you.
Okay, here we go. So this first one is very important. Popeyes or KFC?
KFC, I guess.
Okay. Oh, have you had Popeyes?
I have had Popeyes, but I grew
Okay.
up like Popeyes was not around as much where I grew up. So I feel
Oh,
like KFC, I just know that menu better and I like their mashed potatoes.
the mashed potatoes are great. You're absolutely right. Growing up in California, we definitely did not have any Popeyes. That's for sure. I didn't get Popeyes until I went to the South. So I totally understand that. Okay, here we go. Uh, Chicken wing flavors, barbecue or lemon pepper?
I guess lemon pepper, but I like a classic buffalo, like a hot wing.
Oh my goodness, you like the spice, don't you?
I do
O-
love the spice. I like the
Okay.
tangy spice.
Okay. I like buffalo too now, but I just wouldn't put it over those two flavors, but I do like buffalo. Okay. Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Probably I actually like bone in. I think it you gotta kind of immerse yourself in the wing experience. And bone in with a beer watching a football game is a classic kind of American
Oh my goodness.
thing.
That is so perfect. That is so perfect, Keely. I love that. Now, do you like your wings wet or dry?
Oh, wet, like really saucy. I love a sauce.
So you like to get messy, is what you're saying, eating wings.
Lots of napkins are needed for
Okay,
sure.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Okay, you got me smiling, girl. I love that. All right, here we go. These next 4 questions have to do with music concerts you rather attend. Okay, so here we go. Which artist would you rather see in concert? Would you rather see Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen?
These are country artists.
Yes.
I guess Luke Combs because I know that name.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. I like it. I like it. Now, I don't do a deal with a lot of country, but those two I definitely deal with because I like
Okay.
those. Here we go. Which one would you rather see in person? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Drake for sure.
Oh, okay. You was quick on that one. All right. Here we go.
I like Drake's music and I like his lyrics. I think some of his lyrics are from his older stuff, from like the Take Care album. Great.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, I like that. Oh, that surprised me right there because I thought you would probably go Kendrick, but you said Drake. And yes, Take Care is his classic album. Classic album. Okay. Here we go. Which artist would you rather see in person? J. Cole or Lil Wayne? Now remember where you at now.
I know, but I think Lil Wayne is so charismatic and he was definitely way more a part of my like teenage and college years.
Sure.
And so probably definitely him. I feel like J. Cole is more mysterious, and I feel like Lil Wayne would say hey and talk to me a little bit.
Okay. Now are you which Carter was your favorite? Because my favorite was Carter 3.
I was just gonna say Carter 3 for sure.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm with that. Here we go. Last one of the concerts. Which artist would you rather see in person? Would you rather see Nicki Minaj or Cardi B?
Um, Probably Nicki Minaj. I mean, Cardi B, I definitely would listen to her music maybe more, but like the Pink album, Nicki Minaj, again, around the same time as Take Care came out, those are, late nights at the library trying to get good grades in journalism, listening to those albums for sure. So those, I think Nicki
Okay.
Minaj, if she played some of the stuff on the Pink album, be great nostalgia.
Wow, we are really alike, girl. Where have you been? I'm saying that's what's up. I like that. That's pretty awesome. Okay, which sport would you rather play? Would you rather play badminton or bowling?
Probably bowling. It's probably easier. It's a little less hand-eye coordination. Bowling
That
with
is.
bumpers, please. Bumpers are needed.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord, Keely, we were vibing until you said that. Oh, okay. That's okay though. You said bowling. That's all right. All right. Are you a desserts person?
No, I'm salty. I like a chip or a hot Cheeto, something like
Well,
that.
that's good. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna name 4 brands of chips. Okay,
Okay.
you got to choose one of these that you'll never eat again.
All right. It's gonna be
So
hard.
here we go. So here we go. The first one is Ruffles. The
Okay.
second one is Cheetos. That's any kind of Cheeto. The third one is Doritos. The last one is Lay's. Which one are you getting rid of?
Probably Lay's, even though I love Lay's. I would, Ruffles are too good with dip. Cheetos are my favorite. And what was the other one?
Doritos.
Doritos. Oh, yeah, Doritos like sweet and spicy heat or whatever that one is. I can't live without that. So Lay's
Okay,
would have to go.
so I gotta ask you this: would you want to be a contestant on Hot Wings?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Okay, how far would you think you'll make it?
Oh, probably not that far. I think I am competitive and I can handle some heat. So maybe farther than I think I would. I would try to really tough it out for the moment.
Okay, okay, I got you. Now I got some rapid fire questions a little bit later on, but we're gonna save those. Okay, we got 2 more of the this or that. Which
All right.
one would you rather do? Would you rather be an anchor or would you rather be a reporter? If they said that, Keely, you only can do one for the rest of your journalism career.
Probably Probably reporter. Reporting's interesting, and reporting, you're creating something from the ground up. Anchoring is really cool and high profile, but I'd take reporter.
Okay, I like that. Me too, by the way. I would rather be a reporter all day long. I love just being out and about and with the people in the community. Last one. This is a hypothetical one that I like to ask, but which artist would you rather see in concert? Would you rather see Whitney Houston or would you rather see Celine Dion?
Celine Dion, because I love her Titanic song, and she's still alive, so at least I could definitely go.
That's true. Now hold on. Would that sway your answer if Whitney was still alive?
Oh, then I would probably go see Whitney because I mean
Okay,
her
gotcha.
voice, and I just feel like she'd be a great, great concert.
Got you. I love it. Okay. Now, this next question by saying when we're in the communities and we're driving by, there's a lot of times where people may stop me at a gas station or grocery store and they'll tell me how much they love the story that I've done. And I'm sure they do the same thing with you when you're riding around in Raleigh, North Carolina. But it also makes me think of how blessed and how wonderful it is to have this career and how much I'd rather be doing nothing else because I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. But I love asking this question anyway. If Keely wasn't a journalist in any type of fashion, what career would she have pursued and why?
Yeah, this like answer changes every day because I'll say to my husband, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this other thing," and then I always just come right back to wanting to be doing exactly what I'm doing. Trying to think. Probably, I think, and maybe I'll do this someday. I think it'd be really cool to be a crisis PR, like dealing with a company or an institution in a really chaotic way. Or you know what? If I had to pick something, being the head of communications for like the president and dealing with those press conferences. So something that is news adjacent
Mm.
and high pressure,
Ooh.
where you kind of have a lot of power, I think would be very cool. So maybe someday I will do that. I don't know.
So this is a bonus question that I just thought of because you said that. What how would you address the situation that happened with presidential candidate Trump at his last rally? How would you even start to address that as a PR?
Yeah. Um, if I was working for him, I mean, I think would have issued something immediately like he did. I think the way he handled it, because I think regardless of your politics, I think he is very good at capturing the mood of the people and riling people up and rousing them. So I think he handled it pretty well. And I think communicating with people immediately and giving them the information that you can and trying to capitalize, which I think we'll see if that word capitalize on the moment as a show of strength, as a show of defiance, all the things that I think people kind of associate with the way that was handled. So, I don't know.
I totally put you on the spot there, as I'm sure. But you know that situation was crazy, no question about it. But man, the PR people definitely did a great job of communicating and getting information out to us. And for him to bounce back as fast as he did, that was good too. So it was
It
good to
looks
see.
tough. And, everybody likes, it's not necessarily a comeback story, but people like to see when somebody has been hit with adversity or
Sure.
some the chaotic and then they, rise above and they can show that they're tough. I really like Jacqueline Kennedy, and she was somebody who was revered by the way she handled the aftermath of her husband shooting, how she was so stoic during the funeral, what she did to kind of create this mood during the funeral. So I do admire people that can be really tough, but also you got to give yourself a little kindness too. I imagine if I had someone had attempted to kill me or shoot at me, it'd be hard for me to bounce back in a few days. So it'll be interesting to see, if any, I mean, if that affects him at all, because I know he's looking really tough right now, but I feel like there's probably an element of shock there.
Without question, no question about that. If there was four stories that you would like to cover? And I'll give you an example of myself, right? I would love to cover a World Series. I would love to cover the Olympics that's coming here in 28 in Los Angeles, being in the state that I grew up in. I would love to cover a national championship game, which would be amazing, and an NBA Finals because I'm a huge basketball person. What is 4 events that you would like to cover in your journalism career?
I think the Olympics would be incredible. I think, something I always say with news is I don't want anything bad to happen, but if it does, I'd like to be sometimes the one covering it. So something like the event with Trump and the attempted assassination, being there as a journalist and having to commit to the job and not be jarred and be able to continue to report on that, I think would be a really incredible experience, as twisted as that sounds. So some kind of seismic event where people go like, where were you when? Being able to be like, oh, I was right there, or I covered
Right,
that,
right.
would be really, really, really incredible. I'd love to do an interview with somebody that is elusive and not easy to get to, but needs to answer for things, and hold them accountable. And I don't know what that would look like, but that would be a dream scenario.
Okay.
And you want me to do 4?
Yeah, do one more.
Um,
Maybe like a red carpet for you.
Yeah, I would love to interview Oprah on the red carpet or something like that. I think that'd be fun. That sounds a lot more. I'm thinking all these other ones sound a lot. The Olympics would be really busy. A crazy event would be really chaotic. An interview would be daunting, but being on the red carpet and like talking to Oprah and Jennifer Aniston, incredible. Would love it.
Oh, absolutely. And you certainly have the look for it. I can certainly see you on that red carpet. The Olympic, no question. I mean, any reporter that's in the business, I don't know anybody that would turn down Olympics. If you're
Right.
not in sports or not, I mean, that doesn't matter. It's just such, especially since it's going to be in the USA. Again, it hasn't been in the US for 32 years. Last time was
Right.
96 Atlanta.
Atlanta.
So,
Wow. Okay.
right. So that, I mean, I believe that was the last time I was in the USA. And for it to be in Los Angeles too, or be in a city like that, that's just amazing. What is some advice that someone has gave you? We talked about advice you would give someone, but what is some advice someone gave you that you hold on dearly to?
That's a great question, because I really use the advice that I try to take quotes and things and try to internalize them. A practical piece of advice that always helped me was thinking of being live as a tour guide, because when you're at a scene, you feel like, what am I going to say? But if you're at a scene that's really breaking news, as a tour guide, you can say, we are here, this is what you're seeing, and
Right.
describe that. This is why this is significant. And doing that really helps orient your brain, so you're not just word vomiting and trying to make sense of a chaotic situation. So kind of centering yourself and being able to use your space. And just like you and I talking, if I had to describe this room, that would be really easy for me to do. But if I was like, oh, I have to deliver on these things, that might be more difficult if you're starting out early on. So thinking of yourself as a tour guide when you're live is really helpful. And just knowing that nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody's perfect. Be
Right.
really kind, be gracious, and really nobody knows that you're like dying inside, or you're really stressed, or you're really worried, or you think you suck. Be confident and take every opportunity that you can, even if it feels scary. The more you put yourself out there and the more you say yes to things that you feel like you might not be ready for, you're going to become ready for them if you keep saying yes to them. So really try to be open and take every opportunity you can.
Awesome. I love that. We came to the rapid fire. We're almost coming to the end, but these are rapid fire questions that I have. And the first thing that comes to your mind, Keely, you answer. Okay. So here we go. Burgers or tacos?
Tacos.
Okay. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Okay. This next one, basketball or baseball?
Basketball, I guess, but I also love the Cubs. So it would depend, but basketball, if I had to pick one.
Got you. If you had three albums that you can listen to without no skips, what would those albums be?
Nirvana, Nevermind,
Oh, wow.
uh,
That's a
Take
good one.
Care by Drake, and another album that I if I could do a soundtrack, I'd probably do like the Gladiator soundtrack by Hans Zimmer because I think that music is so motivating.
That is three different albums. No, no question about that. Okay, I got you. All right. Spades or dominoes?
Dominoes.
Are you good?
No, but if I have to pick,
You do. Okay. Because you said you was competitive. So I'm like, what do you actually like? Do you compete in like maybe darts, pool? Is it Wii? I mean, what
I'm
would
very
you
well,
put in
I'm
competitive?
competitive with my work. Like I will beat you on a story. I will get the scoop. I'll report it first. I am very much that's been drilled into me.
Sure.
And I teach a fitness class part-time. When you're starting out as a journalist, you literally make food stamp level money. And
Hmm.
so a lot of people get second jobs. And I was a fitness instructor and I just have carried that with me ever since. And when I go and take a class, like I think I'm internally motivated, but I'm definitely inspired and motivated by people around me. So if I see somebody grabbing a heavier set of weights or like pushing themselves, I'll like try to one up them. So it's not
Feel
that
it.
I'm necessarily playing things where my dad always said like, why can't you be a swimmer or why can't you do something where there's a definitive winner, whereas dance, journalism, all the things that I really like are very subjective things. So
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
be the best at those things without, beating somebody per se, I do love. So,
I love that. Okay, I like that. And yes, I totally understand about the second job because I'm a casino host, so I understand that as well. So
yeah.
yes, I do. Absolutely. Favorite, I would say board game. Favorite board game of yours?
Favorite board game. Maybe like Clue or something like that.
Mm.
Or Uno if we that would count as a board game.
Okay,
Uh
okay,
I
okay.
love charades or games like that where you're a little bit more active.
I'm a huge Pictionary guy, so Pictionary, that's me. No question
Yeah.
about it. Love that. Okay. Uh, three more of the favorites. Favorite alcoholic drink. Mine is Hennessy.
Okay. I like that.
Hmm.
Maybe probably like a margarita. I love a
Now,
margarita.
do you like a lot of salt around the rim on a margarita?
I do. The
Okay,
saltier the better.
okay, I like that. I like that. Okay, two more. Favorite place outside of Chicago or Illinois and Wisconsin? Favorite place that you will either like to go or you've been at?
I studied abroad in Australia when I was a college student. My mom didn't want me to go to Europe or anywhere. Like she's like, you can go to Australia because it seems relatively safe.
Hmm.
And so I went there and we flew to New Zealand for spring break. And we spent like 2 weeks driving through both the North and South Islands. And it was so beautiful. And it was unexpected. It was kind of like the investigative work that I'm doing now. Like I didn't realize how much it would absolutely speak to me. So to go back to New Zealand and to anyone who's never been, I would recommend going. It is just so naturally beautiful. It feels like planet Earth, but if planet Earth were prettier, that's what New Zealand is.
I'm definitely going to put that on the bucket list. You've convinced me for sure. If there was any place that you can go as far as a vacation, exotic vacation, for me, it probably would be the Maldives. But if there was any place you can go and you had three people that you could take with you, who would those three people be?
I would go on a African safari and I love my husband, so he could come later, but I would take my sister and my parents with me because it's always just been the four of us. We have a small family,
Sure.
and like it's just fun as an adult to be with them and like my sister and I like rolling our eyes at my parents bickering and being ridiculous. I think it'd be really fun to go with them. But if I could
Absolutely.
bring one more person, I would take Jack Gray, my lovely husband.
Sure. And listen, I'm sure Jack understands. He understands that.
He's
I'm
gonna
sure
listen to this and be like, "What?" But
right, right. Totally. No, that's awesome. My last question is there anything else that you would like to add about your experience? Maybe some advice or maybe just anything that you would like to add before we conclude.
I think the thing I always try to tell everybody is believe in yourself and remember how far you've come. I am hard on myself, but when I look back at I'm 33 now, if I told my 23-year-old self all the things that I've done and reported on and accomplished, she would be so proud of me. So be be faithful to your dreams, and even if you don't get something in, I didn't get that internship the first time, if you want it and you work hard for it, you will get it. And it's not on your time, it's on God's time, the universe time, but really fight for your dreams and trust yourself. Follow that fiery thing that you feel, because that's, I think, a life well lived, and then you will feel like you used your time wisely.
I love that. I love it. Now, obviously, this has been an excellent conversation, learning about you, learning about your different music tastes, learning about the different things that you've done in the industry, learning about some advice that you would give, and also asking some fun questions as well, and how you deal with things through the industry as well. I really do appreciate your time, Keely, and wish you have a new fan here. I wish you nothing but future
Ditto.
success. And when I'm in Raleigh, like I said, I will hit you up for sure. We got to check out a game or do something.
Absolutely. You're invited. And this was really nice. As a reporter, like you said at the start, you're really always talking about a specific topic and learning about somebody else. So to be able to talk about myself a little bit and you ask some probing questions was a really fun activity. And I'm really glad we did this.
Absolutely. Well, once again, you take care. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday and week, and you and I will definitely be in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye bye.